Hello, we're here to discuss Angie's performance on an informal assessment that she was given to see if she is, what areas she is in need of support, specifically in reading, math, and writing. Angie is in the first grade and she was given a formal battery assessment by our psychological examiner, and that determined that she is in need of support services and in areas of reading, math, and writing. We used this informal assessment that I conducted to determine what areas specifically that Angie needs help with. Does she recognize her letters? Does she know the sounds that the letters make? Can she do one-to-one correspondence? Can she write a sentence and place the correct punctuation in at the end of the sentence? Are just some of the things that we look at to determine when Angie comes to class, what she'll need to be working on. The first thing we looked at was we gave Angie a group of 26 letters. They were in random order and not all of the letters were there. I asked her to identify the capital letters. There were 10 capital letters and she managed to get 8 of those recognized. The rest of the letters in that grouping were lowercase letters, and I asked her to identify those, and she was able to get all of those letters correct. So that is a kindergarten skill, but something that she will need all throughout first grade. The next section is I asked her to write a set of 10 letters, calling them out one at a time. She was able to get all 10 of them. Some of the letters were misformed, so I will be having the occupational therapist evaluate her to see if she may need some occupational therapy. What that will do is that will give Angie someone to work with her on fine motor skills, because those are the kinds of things to do that we need when we are learning to write. Next, I gave her a group of words, and I had her identify the words that she could. It was a group of 20 words, and she was able to recognize 5 of those. She did know yes and no. She knew you, and she was able to say, when she said the word was can, and she said cat instead. For me, she said he, and she was able to get the letters I and U, and also and. So she can pick out a few sight words, but that is definitely something that we want to work on, because they should know 50 sight words by the time they leave kindergarten. So she's definitely behind in that area. Next, we have a combination of sounds where different sounds are used to combine and to make a word. So she had 3 sounds, and she had to tell me what word when you combine that, what they made. And so she was able to do that, as long as it was a word that she recognized once she combined the sounds. If it was a nonsense word or a word that she didn't recognize, she thought she was wrong in her combinations. So again, that's something that we'll be working on. I was very impressed with the fact that if I gave her 2 words, she could make a compound word out of it. And she got all 3 of those words, and so that was very good. The next thing I asked her to do was write 2 sentences. She was able to get all of those words in, but she left some of the letters out. She left the punctuation out. The good thing that she did there is she made a capital letter out of each beginning part of the sentence. So that was good. In the area of math, she was very quick to write down our numbers 1 to 10. And there was a section on which number is more and which number is less. She was very quick to fill those in. She did not, the only instructions I had to give her was in this section, do less. Which number is the least is what I had to say to her. And she jumped right in and took off. And she also realized that if this section was the least, then this section must be the most. So that was good that she really didn't, she picked up on those clues. When it came to representing a number with a picture, she also did well. She didn't always get the right number, but she did attempt to draw and make a visual representation. She was not able to add any or subtract any of the number problems that I put down. For example, she had 3 plus 1, and she only wrote 1. So that tells me that she's only processing the last thing that she hears. So we need to be very careful when we give Angie instructions in the classroom that we make sure the most important thing is the last thing that's said. So I'll be working with her teacher on those things. Again, strengths that she had were being able to write the letters, read the letters, recognizing the letters. I'm sure that there are some of the sounds that and the combinations of sounds that she will probably need to work on. Also breaking words down into syllables and then putting them back together. That is something that is usually accomplished in kindergarten, and that she did not make those connections with. Also in her writing, we need to work with her on writing a sentence and being able to make up a sentence and then get that down on paper. Also in the area of math, we need to have some one-to-one correspondence work where she is counting and then counting in a rotation. So when she does, if she has 2 things to add together, she counts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then moves to the second item and starts over with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So she needs some work on one-to-one correspondence and continuously counting objects. And then also copying those letters in order to be able to write sentences and then eventually read those sentences. I look forward to working with Angie, and I hope these results enlighten you on what we will be doing for Angie in the classroom.